And we're live. What's going on, everyone? I'm Kyle, Azure Hype, and I hope all of you are having a fantastic week so far. It's been a weird one. It's been a really interesting time for sure. Game of Thrones has ended. Our watch has ended, but we're still here. So thank you everyone for joining. I am a little bit weird today. I had 3 cups of coffee. It's still not helping me wake up, but we're gonna have some fun today. Let's have some fun today during the live chat. I've had a lot of awesome questions asked to me. People, that want to talk about King Bran and Tyrion and Jon and kind of the ending of the story, but also touch on some of the favorite moments and whatnot. So I think what we're gonna do, people are laughing at me in the chat already. Yeah. But so happy Friday, everyone. Really happy to be here. It's just gonna be me today. So we're just gonna have some fun, and there's going to be some more wrap-up shows. Blackfire will be joining me, I believe, next Wednesday, and there'll be some other stuff. Me, Jem, and JR will get together, but I had to take a break on Wednesday. I was literally shattered, and yeah, yeah. I'm just trying to survive. But what's going on, everyone? I see Phil H in the chat, the original David Adams. I see Liz King, the beautiful Liz King. What's going on? Anthony Shaddix. We got Jake Thomas, CC Stark. What's going on? I see the Maester of Coffee. We got the Maester of Coffee in the chat. Rick Hoppy saying, poor Kyle waiting for his coffee care package. Alan, living on a prayer. We got Mia Ice Fire. We got George Hutto. What's going on? We have Lizzie French, Pago Pete. Got some Emperor Palpatine. What's going on? And yeah, so this is going to be a chill stream, everyone. Ask questions. It's an open Q&A. Like I said, I wasn't able to join Gemma and JR on Wednesday. So the flu's been getting passed around the house and everywhere. So everybody's kind of been passing. I've been fighting a cold, so feeling a lot better today. But yeah, Marius Bernotas. Hey, Kyle, first time here. Pretty hyped about the stream. Yeah, I'm going to try to be as hype as possible. The hype levels are down a little bit for sure. The energy is definitely went down. I think I took 2 days off in total in the past, like 80 days. So, but we're gonna survive. I got more coffee here, so we're making it happen. So where should we start today? Should we start with the Patreon questions? Actually, we can get to Patreon questions a little bit later. We can just start with some topics from the chat. We can kind of do like how we usually do a consensus. What topic should we pick first? Chat votes, and then we'll go from there. Yeah, all right, survival mode. Yeah, I got my Gatorade too. Winter Ashara, who are you most disappointed didn't make an appearance on the show? Whoa. That's a really difficult one because Howland Reed made an appearance. And I think in the finale that was him. That to me, I think will be something that gets paid off in the books. So that's kind of a cop-out answer because this person was included in the Tower of Joy flashback, and I think that was him besides Samuel in the finale. But I gotta say probably Howland Reed. Geez, that's a tough one. Lady Stoneheart obviously is. George has talked about how she was. If he could include one character, it would be her. So it's really interesting to see what will happen with her storyline. They definitely did Mira dirty. Like House Reed, that is something that I think is going to be more important in the end. Another, I'm not a huge fan of George including the Aegon plotline so late in the books, but John Connington, young Griff for sure. Griff and young Griff, that storyline would have made it more interesting for sure. If we had an extra season, maybe we could have pulled it off. I don't know if that's the case, but that's those are probably the ones I would say. I think that probably would have had a pretty big impact, but yeah, I think Lady Stoneheart comes to mind. House Reed, like towards the end, and yeah, probably like the young Griff Connington stuff. They Ariane Martell, also like the Dorn plot line. It's not my favorite, but I think she is a great character. So there's quite a few. I think that, you know, with more time we could have done things, but it is what it is. Let's hear for Kyle, who has been a YouTube beast this month. Yeah, it's been insane. I think I didn't do a video yesterday. I had to take the day off. I was literally I I literally tried to stay awake. I took 3 naps yesterday. I basically slept all day. But I would say, yeah, I would say some of those plot lines. Victarion is not really like a character that I was really high on, but, you know, like Marwyn and Makoro, kind of more the Red Priest stuff, you know, Volantis, that kind of stuff I'm more interested in. So, yeah, those are kind of some of the answers I have for you. FIFA Star HD. Do you think Daenerys will get resurrected in Volantis? Well, I think that, you know, George will definitely leave some stuff open to interpretation in you know, Winds of Winter and A Dreamless Spring. But I don't know. I can't answer that question for you. Really, is that where Drogon took Daenerys? I don't necessarily think that's a yes. I think that maybe, you know, Drogon just went back to Valyria. Maybe we saw him fly there before. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that. But I've seen some interesting, you know, discussions on that so far. Like, where it was, you know, is there going to be a sequel? Daenerys comes back with her fury, revived by the Red Priest. I don't think that's a thing. But thank you so much, FIFA HD and Dark Mother, for the donations. Really appreciate that. Girl Nettles, what's going on? Sontavia Major, what's going on? Nymeria Stark. Emperor Palpatine says, Kyle, how much do you think the season could have benefited from a 10 episode long season? Emperor Palpatine, if they did 10 episodes in season 7 and season 8, that would have been like having an extra 6 episode season, right? So I think, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, okay, yeah, like, I could still see the Daenerys going mad thing. The fact that it happened in the second last episode and we didn't see her after that, that was a huge shocker, right? And imagine if that happened in like episode 7 and then we had like 3 episodes to figure that out. You know what I mean? White Walkers are defeated by like episode 5. We've got another 2 episodes of the White Walkers. Cersei's defeated in the next couple episodes, and then Daenerys is like set like 8, 9, 10 or something like that, or 7, 8, 9, 10, something like that. So I think that, yeah, I definitely, personal feelings on the matter, I still enjoyed it, but I think that we could have definitely benefited from more episodes. Absolutely. I mean, everyone in chat, let's take a vote. How many people would have liked more episodes? I bet you would be like close to 100% of people would want that, right? So I'm just saying, for me anyways, I think we could have benefited from more. But I would love to, like, everybody vote in chat. How many people would have wanted more episodes and think that the seasons could have benefited from more? Yeah. See, like, none of us really, and that's the thing too. Like, how could they? I'm not absolving the showrunners, definitely not. I'm just saying, but how can they win in the end? Like, nobody wanted. We didn't want this to end. Like, yeah, we wanted to see where things went, but it's like, it's a really tough situation, right? Especially when there's such a massive following and such the like Game of Thrones phenomenon, right? Like, look at how many people's lives have changed, including myself. So that's kind of how I feel about it. But I think that, you know, it definitely felt rushed the last season. Hey, Princeton wasn't promised in chat. What's going on? I'm going to scroll up. We're going to take lots of questions through chat today. I got 90 minutes just for you guys today. We're going to take maybe even 2 hours. We'll see how I'm feeling, like I said. But we're just going to take tons of questions from chat today. It's going to be really fun. And I got some Patreon stuff too. But yeah. Who wanted it less, Bran or John? Yeah, so this is interesting. I'm gonna do another video on this, a more in-depth video on the whole Bran thing. I think that, you know, the context of what we will see in the books will be, oh, like, is that really Bran and Bran's flesh? It's really not. But I think that, you know, Bran saying you were exactly where you were supposed to be. Bran doesn't really want to be king, but in the end, it's a win for House Stark. And I can't help but feel like I've talked about this in like 3 or 4 videos now. The whole situation we saw Bran listened in on the conversation with Sansa and Tyrion, right? Like he was behind on that window with the Raven. Bran and Tyrion had the private conversation, right? Like Bran was able to evaluate whether, like, what kind of information Tyrion was telling him. And I'm sure Tyrion the same with Bran, right? Because they kind of played off each other in this final council meeting. So that was really interesting. But I think that Bran knew that Jon wouldn't want to be there in the end anyway. So Bran orchestrated some things. I think the the conversation that Bran, Sansa, Arya, and Jon had, where he gave Jon the opportunity. It's like, it's your choice. You know what I mean? Bran and Three-Eyed Raven, sorry, Bran the Three-Eyed Raven had orchestrated things, I think, a lot more than we think. And I think the books will illuminate that more. I'm not saying that the Three-Eyed Raven is evil, but to get to that final point, it's really interesting. I think that we need to explore that more too. So I think, yeah, it's definitely an interesting topic, and I'm definitely going to do some more videos on that. So thanks for the question, Alan. Mo Castillo, I need more. Thanks for the donation, Mo. I need more episodes. I'm withdrawing. Thank goodness for the YouTube content creators. Thank you so much, Mo. Really appreciate that. Yeah, the high-level chess game, the puppeteering, because we don't get to see, like, one thing George has never done too is he said he would never write from the perspective or POV from a king. So that's really interesting. So is he breaking that rule with Bran? Like, is this going to happen in the books? And kind of where was that going to go? I'm going to explore that. I mean, Gemma actually just did a great video on that. If you want to go check out kind of some of those points that, like, will George do this in the books? Will it be more complicated because of the Three-Eyed Ravens plotline in the book? So I think that that's something that we definitely got to look at. But yeah, it was highly beneficial for House Stark for Bran to be there, right? So, or the Three-Eyed Raven. Well, it's yeah. We need more information for sure. Herb Coswell's in the chat. What's going on? Yeah, and Sansa became queen in the north, and Bran chose, like, so Tyrion. We could say Tyrion is a winner of the Game of Thrones and won the Game of Thrones. There's a couple winners, but Tyrion, he was like, I've had a lot of time to think about this. He named Bran, right? He named him Bran the Broken, and then Bran in turn was like, hey, Tyrion, you're going to be my hand. And I think Bran had the evaluation of, well, I think I know that Tyrion would do a decent job as Hand of the King. And it all goes back to the conversation that Varys had with Bran, right? Like, power lies where men think it lies, and a very small man can cast a very large shadow. It's that riddle. Like, oh, like Tyrion is in the same position that Tywin was. And Tywin was, Mad King Aerys kept on descending into paranoia and madness. So Tyrion is in this situation where he has an opportunity to do a lot of good. And he's proven himself to, at least execute things. He's at least done that before in the past, and I think Brandis saw that. Hey, we got Chrissy of Oldstone in the chat. CC Stark. Where did a dragon lay eggs? I'm not sure. I mean, that will be interesting. I really loved so the poetic note of Jon being among his people, kind of the nod that Jon was the king beyond the wall. I really like that. When he does the look back to the Black Gate, and he's like, hey, like, I don't think Jon's never returning to the wall. And them going throughout the forest, we see the plant sprouting from the ground, so a dream of spring. And then we have them walking through the forest, and this kind of like the Children of the Forest, them repopulating it instead of, the White Walkers killing all the Night's Watch that are ranging beyond the wall. So I love that symbolically for Jon. And Jon finding some peace, you know what I mean? That's really nice. And the wildlings and Tormund, and obviously Ghost, the goodest boy of all time, is there with him. So I think that Jon realized what Bran said, and he's like, yeah, I'm okay with this. Now, does that mean he's not going to be affected by the things that I mean, killing Daenerys and Ygritte dying in his arms. No, of course not. Those are huge moments in someone's life, right? So I think that poetically for House Stark, I love the endings for all of them. So yeah. So John getting some piece is nice, because I think that most people in chat would agree that we would all want John to have some level of happiness in the end. Man, what a journey for him, huh? Herb Coswell, what's going on? You think Gendry should have been on that boat with Arya? Personally, I think so. No, I mean, Arya is kind of a lone wolf, kind of like what we saw with Nymeria. That's not me. She's got her own pack now. But if you look at Gendry's outfit, it was really interesting. Was that like wolf fur? It looked like claw marks, right? And I don't know. I thought it was interesting. I thought there was a connection between Gendry and Gendry still looks over at Arya in the end. So I think that I think there's still a connection, but I don't think that. I mean, Gendry's got stuff to do in Westeros now. He's the Lord of Storm's End, but I don't think. I mean, this is Arya's journey, right? Not Gendry's. So Arya's on her own journey. She needs to explore whatever she needs to explore in her life. Eva Brown, I think John was more happy than you think. Arya realizes this is Essos and then comes back. Will John become the new Blood Raven, Nicola? I don't think so, no. Nope. I think John is going to have peaceful, quiet life. That's it. Beyond the Wall, populate the north of the wildlings. Keep it safe up there. Hey, Mara Jade Skywalker, living on a prayer. We got Fandom D Saint in the chat. What's going on? Nice to see all of you joining today. Good news, I purchased my flights to Con of Thrones, so that's all booked up, and hotel, all that stuff is taken care of. Everything, the channel's done so well during the past couple of months, so thumbs up for that. A few people have asked me about the GoFundMe. I shut that down. We did so amazing. We didn't, but that was, I can't believe how much support all of you gave during season 8 and leading up into season 8. So thank you so much to everyone, Maura Lee and Pedro and Janet Lynn and all the people who did donate to the GoFundMe. But we did awesome. We're all booked for Con of Thrones, so that's going down, and I'm really excited to go now. Yeah. When I saw John, Mo Castillo with another donation. When I saw John at the end, I wanted to say I can be your family. Yeah, I love the final conversation with Sansa and John, especially too. The North lost their king. A lot of people said that Sansa would betray John, but and the Stark sisters. Oh my God, I think that was my favorite scene of the episode, or one of them, anyways. I really loved how where's John? Sansa's asking where's John, and then Grey Worm saying he's in prison. Blah 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 blah. There's thousands of Northmen that are outside the walls of King's Landing that letting you know that harming Jon Snow is not in your best interest. And then Yara speaks up, and then Arya says, I'll cut your throat if you talk about my brother. So I don't know if a lot of you caught that, but still referring to Jon as their brother. So I love the Stark sisters at the end, man. Arya and Sansa were fantastic. I love that conversation. I don't know about everyone else, but that was great. Andy Burnett, one of the patrons of the channel. Will the lands of Always Winter remain covered in snow forever, even after Night King is murdered? Yeah, I won't. I mean, there was a hint of that at the end. Andy Burnett. That's not quite the lands of Always Winter, but we could see that there was some growth there. So I really like that with the plant sprouting beyond the wall, and I think that George will go somewhere like that in the books. Yeah. Grey Worm, did you catch that? The Isle of Nath, the butterfly fever. Grey Worm and the Unsullied are screwed when they go to Nath, everyone. They just basically sail to their death. I don't know if anyone else caught that, but yeah, them going to Nath, they are screwed. So Grey Worm, goodbye. You're dead. You're gonna die on Nath, man. So the butterfly fever on Nath is no good. People start like dancing and getting into a trance, and then they start sweating blood. It's not good. Three-Eyed Raven won the game. There was multiple winners of the game, but Bran, the Three-Eyed Raven, definitely had a big impact on the end game for sure. Should have been a trial by combat between Grey Worm and Jon. I saw that mentioned that people would like to see a fight between Grey Worm and Jon, but yeah, I mean, that's what happened. We didn't get that, so maybe Grey Worm wanted to. Yeah, Ivy of House Bark. Missandei kind of forgot to tell Grey Worm about the butterflies. A lot of people are saying that they would love an Arya spinoff. That's been shot down, everyone. I don't think we're getting any sequels. Unless, like, in the future, kind of like what they're doing with Star Wars. I highly doubt. Highly, highly, highly doubt that you're getting any sequels to Game of Thrones anytime soon. They're going to be doing prequels and spin-off shows. I think that George R. R. Martin hinted at that, something from Fire and Blood could be, is in adaptation in the process of, in this kind of think tank thing that's going on with all the prequel shows. I think the Dance of Dragons would probably be, the one that's adapted if they're going to do some Fire and Blood stuff. And then like the Dance of Dragons stuff, the Hour of Wolf stuff. And then we got Game of Thrones, The Long Night, or Blood Moon. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, George R. R. Martin says he doesn't want sequels. Yeah, but Blood Moon is an interesting term because it has connections to obviously cyclical cyclical events, like how many blood moons are in age and stuff like that. So and also during spiritual times and religious times, blood moon have significant impacts, or have had significant impacts on throughout human history, as far as like people trying to understand why astrologically these things are happening cosmically. So I think it's going to be interesting. What about the prequels being canceled? Are you kidding? No, Dark Mother, that won't happen. That definitely won't happen. I mean, the people at HBO, man, you better, okay, because look, all of these, like Disney Plus, Amazon, like Amazon's doing Lord of the Rings, Netflix is going to do The Witcher. They're all trying to get that next Game of Thrones show, right? And I think that HBO understands that, the kind of franchises that you can get, like the Avengers and Marvel or Star Wars, the Skywalker saga, they understand that Game of Thrones is that for HBO. Like, let's just, I don't think that's, there's no way that they trash the Game of Thrones prequel. Young Gemma's in chat. That's cool. What's up, FIFA Star HD with another donation? Is there a possibility that we get to see where another season of Game of Thrones where Daenerys returns? Yeah, FIFA Star, man. I'm sorry to break it to you, but I don't think so. Gonna have to look to the books to see if George expands on all of that. So sorry about that, FIFA HD. If you have another question that you want to state, another topic that you want to, because you made 2 donations talking about the Daenerys thing. If you have another question, let me know. I'll get it for you. But yeah, I don't think we're gonna see any resolution to that. George is definitely going to leave things open. Like, there's going to be things that people want the answer to that they're not going to get the answer to. That's just how George operates. X Factor, love your videos. Thank you for that. Really appreciate you. We got Sandy Stark in the chat. Raw Nerve. Who else we got? Allison Denying. Yeah. Winds of Winter will be gas. Yeah, George. So a little bit of news about that. George was talking about how Worldcon next year is in New Zealand. He said if he doesn't have the copy out by then, that they could imprison him, basically. So this, hopefully we get it before then. So we'll see. I mean, there's nothing we could really do other than hope that we get it sooner than later, right? Be optimistic. Dark Mother, what about the prequels on hold? Yeah, those are definitely, so they've already started filming and they've done casting. Dark Mother with the pilot, Jane Goldman and S.J. Clarkson, who's worked on Jessica Jones and all sorts of other awesome shows. That's already going through, and they've already got locations where they're filming and stuff like that. So, yeah, I don't how like the Game of Thrones production-wise, the production value and the kind of scale that we saw within the show is one of a kind, right? Like the locations we saw, like Croatia, Northern Ireland, Iceland, all of these things we've got to experience during Game of Thrones are truly unique. So the scale of Game of Thrones, that takes some time, right? So while they are filming a pilot, there's, I mean, how many episodes is the first season going to be if they're gonna get the pilot and that's going to get picked up, right? So I think I'm optimistic of the prequels are going to have at least the one prequel is going to happen because they have to. We got to know more about the Night King, the Children of the Forest, the Dark, more about the Far East, Ahai, the mysteries of the East, the darker history of Westeros, the Starks of Legend, Land, the Clever, all of that. They're going to expand on that. Bran the Builder, the Wall. We're gonna get that, Dark Mother. So, I mean, I can't guarantee it. I don't work for HBO, and I can't for sure say that it's going to happen. But I think, business wise and financially, revenue wise, they want Game of Thrones. Smokeahontas is in the chat. What's going on? We got awesome people in the chat right now. 100 likes. Thank you so much. We have 362 people watching. If you're enjoying this, please feel free to like the video, of course. Yeah, so George he's giving a timeline, but we've heard this before, so I'm not getting into that. Fandom D-Saint says, I like Jorah dying in the show as a fitting end to his character. Kind of glad they didn't keep him alive. So, yeah, they talked the other day about the idea of having not only Tormund waiting for Jon, but also Jorah. But I like that. I mean, that made sense, right? Him dying for Daenerys. So, I know a lot of people have been critical about that, but I'm in agreement, Fandom D-Saint. Another great content creator if you guys and gals want to go check him out. So if everybody had, so let me ask a question to all of you. If you had to pick a prequel, what would you want? For me, I want to learn more about the White Walkers and the Children of the Forest and the Age of Heroes. So I'm glad that they're doing that. But I've heard a lot of people talk about, ancient Valyria and the Dance of Dragons, the Blackfire Rebellion, stuff like that, Dunk and Egg. So I kind of want to hear, what all of you would really love to see, obviously. I know some people said Robert's Rebellion too. And Steph Sanchez, thank you for the donation. Really appreciate that. Long Night, Dance of Dragons. Valyria and the Doom of Valyria, says Andy Burnett. Dunk and Egg. There's a lot of Dunk and Egg. Aegon's Conquest. Okay, that's an interesting one. Tan Wexler. Hope I said that correctly. Richard Hoppy, the Maester Coffee, says the White Walker origin story. George Hutto says Blackfire Rebellion. So there's a good mix. Wesley Mons says Dance of Dragons. So there's dragons, White Walkers. You kind of got to pick, right? Because the Valyrians came and their empire came much later than what we at least know in the history, anyways, because the Age of Heroes was many, many thousands of years before the Targaryens at least came over. But Valyria was around for a little bit, so I think people are interested in that. One thing, if you are excited about the Lord of the Rings prequel, they're gonna focus on Numenor and the Second Age. And Numenor is where Aragorn, his ancestors, came from, and there was a very similar cataclysm that happened, like we saw in Pompeii and also Valyria. So I'd be really excited for that. I really want to see the Lord of the Rings show. Something not Targaryen. Yeah, there's quite a few people that are off the Targaryen thing, but I'm House Stark. I like the darker plot lines, the more magical, the more I love the old gods. Anything to do with the old gods interests me. That to me is always interesting. The Green Seers, the Children of the Forest, that storyline. We've got a beautiful day here in my hometown. It's beautiful and sunny. I was outside this morning having a coffee, and I just laid back in my chair, and I nearly fell asleep. So good thing I woke up. Otherwise, I would be a tomato. We got Mandolin in the chat. What's going on? Jamie McKenna. Yeah, what's going on? And Steph Sanchez, what's going on? Oh, so Steph didn't have a comment for her donation, but she says, Kyle, a bit late here, but glad to be here. Just want to say you have such a magnetic and charming personality, star type of persona. Well, thank you. Holy moly. Please continue to expand your channel. So yeah, a lot of people have been thank you so much, by the way, Steph, for that. I really appreciate the kind words. I'm taking a little bit of a breather. No edited video today. No edited video yesterday. But I'm going to do an Arya Frodo comparison video. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about Bran, talk about House Stark. There's still going to be a lot of Game of Thrones Season 8 videos. I'm doing book stuff as well, but I've been working on behind the scenes Marvel videos and stuff. So that's great. Also, it's Gemma's birthday this weekend. You know, Secrets of the Citadel. I sent her a birthday prezi or gift this weekend, and I sent her the first Expanse book and the first season of the Expanse. So I'm trying to get her into that so she can just join for discussions with me and JR about the Expanse and stuff like that. So content-wise, I'm not going away. I'm loving doing this. This is actually, after season 8, we're 100% going to be doing this full time because the channel's done so well. So I know a lot of people have been concerned about that, but good things have been happening, everyone. So the channel, I think we're almost like 100 subscribers away from 45,000. So we didn't quite reach 50,000, but I think we just hit 10 million views or 11 million views on the channel. So yeah, great things are happening, and lots of new content is going to be coming. So X Factor says, yes, the magical side of Westeros, which kind of made Game of Thrones what it was, wasn't an everyday thing, but, you know, it can be expanded. So yeah, X Factor, I'm in agreement on that. I think that, you know, we could see more of that in the Blood Moon prequel. Wexler, why Wexler says, my favorite spinoff would be the story of what Podrick did to those girls. Here we go. I'm going to do a little shame bell.
Shame. 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 Shame.
That's a funny one. We haven't used it. We didn't get to use the soundboard last time. So thank you for that funny comment. People are saying, I love the Expanse in chat. Okay. Shame. So okay, let's have a little chat in the comment section right now. What kind of videos videos would you like to see? More you want to see more book content? Fire and Blood. We got Fire and Blood back here. Ghost, the goodest boy, is on top of Fire and Blood. Well, what kind of content do you all want to see going forward? Because I'm gonna do like, you know, hero's journey style vids, looking at the complete arc of, like, you know, Theon Greyjoy, Jorah, those kinds of characters, Samwell Tarly, Bran, and kind of try to pinpoint and dissect and analyze, you know, their whole journeys. I'm going to be doing that. But book content, okay. More book content, says Christy Oldstone. Superhero breakdown stuff, so superhero movies, comics, says Fendi Saint. The Expanse, okay. Westworld has been I will be doing Vikings, by the way. I know I kind of did that at the start, but that Game of Thrones season came around, and then it became all Game of Thrones stuff. So I'll be doing Vikings for sure. That's one thing I will be covering. Me and King McKay are going to be teaming up. Another great content creator. So the last season of Vikings is coming up at the end of this year, early next year. So I'll be covering that. Westworld is great for theory crafting, says the original David Adams. I agree. I'm going to be doing that. So book content, Game of Thrones book content, Fire and Blood, and also the Song of Ice and Fire books. I thought about doing some Winds of Winter sample chapter stuff like Theon and doing the Forsaken chapter again. You know, we kind of touched on that, stuff like that. Will Harry says, I can remember when we were waiting for you to get to 2,500 subscribers. Huggies from Austria. Yeah, it's been a really crazy journey, right? You know, this season, we started off before the season. We had 22,000 subscribers, and now we're at almost 45. So we doubled. That's pretty crazy. And then I think we actually tripled in views. That's pretty crazy. So because of all your support and awesome hype, you know, the videos, we did awesome. We grew a lot. A Blood Raven prequel, says Sanjitter. Okay, that's interesting. More on Blood Raven and the Three-Eyed Raven, a Three-Eyed Raven prequel. A lot of people are saying Witcher in the chat. Yep. Actually, for those of you that know I'm going to Con Thrones, I'm also going to Dragon Con, and I'll be on a Witcher panel with JR. And I believe Jennifer Jennifer, the High Fantasy track director, will be on that one too. So I'm going to be doing a Witcher panel at Dragon Con. So that's really exciting. Gordon Moore, what's going on, friend? Nice to see you in chat. Winter Ashera says Fire and Blood stuff. Also, I will be doing next week. I'll be releasing Game of Thrones Rewind Episode 1. We'll be going back to the very first episode of Game of Thrones, and what we'll be doing is breaking down all the Easter eggs and the foreshadowings and all the moments now that we know at least the ending for the show. So Game of Thrones Rewind is starting next week. I know a lot of you have been asking about that. That's going to be a signature series on the channel, going back all the way back to episode 1, going through every single episode of Game of Thrones, starting back with episode 1. So that'll be fun. Velveteen Hussy, can one of the mods post a link to donate? To donate to what, Velveteen? Rocking Ocean? So does everybody like the Game of Thrones Rewind idea? Let me know in the chat if you like that. If you like me to go back to episode 1, kind of talk about, you know, like this is what we missed, or this is kind of, this led to this or that. So I think that would be cool. Hell yes to the rewatch. Okay. Dragon Winterfell says yes. Did Sahiner, big love from Turkey. Love your videos. Thank you. Let's everybody welcome DYT Sahiner, Mire Sahiner. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Sorry. My French Canadian accent pushes that. Hell yes. Okay. Loving it. The Witcher books are okay, but the lore of the games, yeah, Tim. Witcher 3 is one of my favorite games of all time. Also, everyone, what I've been exploring is, so I've already have my Con of Thrones taken care of, trip taken care of, but I have a little, so what I want to do is do some expansions in the office. And what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to set up a couch, and I got a green screen, and I'm thinking about launching a Twitch channel and doing some gaming. I don't know if any of you would be interested in that, like RPG games like The Witcher, or any new games that come out in the fall, like Borderlands 3, those kind of games. So I've been toying with the idea of doing that, and I have a lot of friends that actually do Twitch full time, so they're willing to help out with that. But I have a green screen set up, and I'm thinking about getting a couch and doing some gaming. And I could even upload the videos to YouTube and stuff like that, and kind of doing like, maybe we'll do like a requests and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I think that would be cool too. Maybe some more reaction vids too, like you know, when new trailers come out and stuff like that, we have a couch and I do reactions watching the trailers and stuff like that. Like stuff that's more personal, you know what I mean, that we can connect with and we can kind of have some fun with and be more relaxed. And Anthony, yeah, when Cyberpunk comes out, I'll be playing that for sure. So, hell yes to the Game of Thrones Rewind. Pretty much everyone is on that. I love that. Grand Thrones Auto. God of War, yeah, that's one of my favorite games. Robert's Rebellion tribute video. Okay, Catty Cat, I can maybe do that. Are we going to, so Michelle Bull is asking a great question. Are you going to be doing an after show after The Last Watch on Sunday night? So the documentary that's airing on HBO, the 2-hour one, we're actually going to be going live on Geek Chat 1. And it's also Gemma's birthday stream / a Con of Thrones reunion stream. So Gemma's birthday stream, also Con of Thrones reunion stream, also talking about The Last Watch. So we got a super hype stream on Sunday night. There's going to be tons of special guests. JR's channel, Geek Chat 1. You have to subscribe to Geek Chat 1 to go check that out. So we'll be live on JR's channel on Sunday night. The Witcher, yeah, I'll be covering Witcher the show for sure. Also, I want to talk about the Mandalorian as well, the Disney Plus shows. So Loki, all of those, and yeah. So that's definitely going to happen. But for those of you, we are doing another. I think that'll be the last after show. I think so. JR's channel, Geek Chat One. Make sure you go check that out. Alan, thank you for the donation. Says you're amazing. I really appreciate the kind words, man. Final Fantasy, says Alan. Okay. Love me some Loki, says Johnny. Mandalorian. Yeah, so it's a really interesting time, right? Because I still want Channel Azure hype. You guys know how much I love Game of Thrones and A Song of Ice and Fire. So I still want that to be the main focus of the channel, but I'm going to mix in some, Marvel videos and Witcher videos and all kind of that kind of stuff. Like when The Expanse comes out, if it's episodic, week by week, I will do like weekly episode reviews and stuff like that, depending on if it's all one season released at once or not. So that's going to be interesting. Stranger Things comes out in the summer. I'll be covering that. But donation. So Velveteen, what you do is, so you see the live chat. If anyone does want to make a donation, I've seen a couple people ask this now during the live chat. There's the little smiley face where you can do the emoji, and then beside that there's the $sign. That's where people make donations and they get their questions highlighted and all that kind of stuff. So that's where you can find that. Thank you for that. So Stranger Things, people are loving that too. People like Stranger Things. Peter Griffin says, do we think the prequel will see the dark side of the Children of the Forest and the Night King is more on the hero side of things? Yeah, there could be a switcheroo in that respect. We could see that maybe the three-eyed raven has more evil intentions or more nefarious intentions, which would make the ending of Game of Thrones more interesting, considering Bran became king in the end. Right, so yeah, I'm hoping it will illuminate more of the story just in general. So yeah. So yeah, I'm looking. Will Heron have another 5? Win, thanks for the fun. Thank you very much for the donation. So let's get some more questions going. We can do Game of Thrones Season 8 questions, of course. It could just be Game of Thrones as a whole, just questions in general, unanswered stuff. We'll keep on going with some questions from the live chat. The Prince That Wasn't Promised. Did you see today's news? Night of the Old Republic. Star Wars movie. So is that what Dan and Dave are working on? Twisted Metal TV show and Sonic delayed for editing. Very interesting. I'm interested in the Star Wars stuff. Prince That Wasn't Promised. Thank you for the donation. Catty Cat Masters, have you ever read about the symbolism within Sansa's last outfit? The breakdown was really touching. Yeah, I talked a little bit about it in just the kind of reaction video I did, but I'm going to be doing a specific video on Sansa and touching on some characters that she was influenced on. I'm doing a Sansa video. We got one of those in the works. I got an Arya and Frodo Lord of the Rings video. I got a John. I'm going to do all of House Stark's surviving members. I'm going to do a hero's journey vid for each of them and kind of talking about where they ended up and kind of some of their final moments and their story arcs and stuff like that. So I'm going to be doing videos like that, like character analysis videos that focus on a specific character. So I've had a lot of people ask about that, but I will be doing that. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up. Game of Thrones Rewind will be fun, yes. The person was Queen Sansa. Yes, Queen. Yeah, Sansa was slaying at the end. I loved her final, like where they had the last council in the dragon pit. I love that. That was she had some, and then the symbolically her wearing, it had like the Tully blue in there, like the blue gray dress with the weirwood leaves, and then her crown was, really interesting. The back very much looked like Cersei's crown. So yeah. Hannibal O'Neill, been a while, Kyle. Damn, that rhymes. Thank you for the donation. Yeah, that's the end of the Targaryen line too, by the way, everyone. Full stop ends with Jon. So Gordon Moore says, if you have to pick one character you could have played in Game of Thrones, who would it be? Minus Sandor? I mean, Tormund. Look at me. Love Tormund. He had great comedy, and I love to make people laugh. So it'd be Tormund Giantsbane would be my pick. Jon will have a kid with some redhead up north. Jon's going to marry a wildling? I don't know. We'll see. Jon should have embraced Daenerys' dark side and been her king. Could have ruled the world together. Yeah. Rachel M says, making a trip to Con of Thrones is in a large part because of you. What are you most excited about for Con of Thrones? Well, I mean, the coolest thing is getting to meet up with all of you, right? You guys and gals attending the panels and stuff like that. That's rad. I'm super excited to go hang out with In Deep Geek and Gemma, hang out with my friends, hang out with you guys. So that's the coolest part for me. But I love doing the panels and going to all the different events and stuff like that. I can't really pick one thing for Con of Thrones, and also for those of you who are thinking about going to Con of Thrones, you can use a code AZOR to get a discount on your passes. So yeah, excited for Con of Thrones for sure. CC Stark says, I met Kyle. Humble brag. Drinking up that Giant's milk, says Robert. Yeah, I got to get strong. Got to drink that Giant's milk. I love all the positivity in chat. We have Katrin in the comment section. Let's take a few. There's a few awesome comments from Patreon. Peagle Pete, who is in the chat, says Bran's robes were very much inspired by what the Renaissance Pope wore, which is very interesting. And there's always this discussion of divine right versus like the divine right to the kingship to actual bloodline. So that's something that has been explored within A Song of Ice and Fire and Game of Thrones. So, and Peagle Piece says, Kyle, you should do a video on all the king and queen slayers in the show and add Sansa to that list. So thank you very much for your comments, Peagle Pete. Helen Ledwith says, if Jorah had lived to basically, so she says she hoped that Jorah would live to basically shadow Jon and end up with the Night's Watch. That would be poetic, kind of a full circle journey. Helen says, I love the show. I feel season 7 could have been crafted with a better pace, maybe longer episodes. I agree. But with extra episodes, hopefully they could have made Euron more menacing, expanded on the Jaime and Brienne plot line, and clarified the tribunal. So thank you very much for that, Helen. CC Stark, who's also a patron of the channel and in the chat, is Jon ranging beyond the wall, or did he move out with him? Yeah, that he's never returning to Castle Black. That was him. The look back, he's like, I'm leaving. That was it. So, and she also says, oh, this is a really interesting comment for chat. Brynden Rivers had the ultimate revenge. Did he have the ultimate revenge against the Targaryens? So we know that Brynden Rivers, Bloodraven, there was all of the succession problems for the Targaryens and going. So did he have his ultimate revenge? That is certainly something that I think that could be explored more deeply in the book, CC, and there could be more context to that, and George adding more layers on that. So thank you for all the patron questions, all the patrons of the channel. If you would like to support the channel and keep this thing going, this is a large reason why I'm able to go full-time on YouTube is Patreon. You can find the link to the Patreon in the description of this video. You can sign up for as little as $1, and we get early access to all sorts of scripts and audio and all sorts of extra content on the channel. So yeah, thank you once again. I always have to shout out my Patreons are a big reason why we've had been able to do this and get new equipment and awesome webcams and new mics and stuff like that. So shout out to all of the awesome patrons in the channel, and you can find the link in the description to become a patron in the comment section. So thank you for that. CC Stark. Forrest Blurred is in the chat. What's going on? Alan Carstairs. Narnia series coming to Netflix? I don't know. I haven't read. I'm a little bit behind in the news for all of that, but yeah, no, Johnny's also Johnny, who's in the live chat. Sontavia Major is a patron as well. We got a bunch of patrons in the live chat. What's going on, Big E? Also, Shahid, who's in the chat, made a donation to the GoFundMe. Thank you for that. John Haymaker. Did Alice Karstark live? I believe she did. I'm not sure if she was spotted at Sansa's coronation or anything like that, but Ren Redwood says, love you, Kyle. Do you think the prequels will have the Azure Ahai prophecy? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. They're going to expand on that, I think. I hope so. I hope so. I would love to see more on that. Could everybody hear the birds chirping outside? There's actually just a blue jay that flew on. We have a bird feeder outside in our tree in our backyard, and they were flying back there into the feeder. So they're singing out there right now. So beautiful. Barb Wright with the donation. Thank you. A Canadian. What's going on, Barb? To be honest, I am looking forward to finding new things to watch, read, and listen based on anything that you recommend. Yay for George R. R. Martin finishing The Winds of Winter by Worldcon 2020 in New Zealand, Middle Earth. I'm not going to make any speculations on that, but I think it'll be done by then, hopefully. It's so beautiful. It's not too hot outside today, too. You can go outside. There's a little bit of a breeze. It's really nice. Sansa is the only one who did not have the same fate as their wolf. Yeah, so Bran ended up in the south, and well, I mean, Sansa transformed into a badass, though, but she did become Lady of Winterfell, so that's really interesting too. The Bee and the Rose Knitting Podcast we have in the chat. Do you have a channel? If you do, post it. Any other content creators, if you do have channels, put them in the live chat. We love to support other content creators here. I would like to see Malamute says you do a Lord of the Ring and Witcher, covering those two TV shows. I will be doing those, Malamute, and also do a rewatch and cover the costuming in Game of Thrones. I will be doing the Game of Thrones rewind. So yeah. Kate Bertinsky is finally announced in Southern Ontario. Oh, we got another Canadian in chat calling for thunderstorms and rain. Yeah, it's been kind of crappy. It was crappy for most of the week. But so yeah, we're going to be doing some renovations in the office. And I'm going to put a couch over here. I'm going to get a tripod and try to see if I can't set up doing some reactions and stuff like that. And maybe, yeah, doing some gaming. So that's going to be cool. I want to try out some new things, right? I want new challenges. I'm always looking to get better as a content creator, learn new skills, learn how to use new equipment, try to get better at what I've done previously, see if I can improve editing videos and stuff like that, my audio, if I can improve how everything sounds. So we're gonna try to upgrade some. We're gonna try to level up for sure. And you know what? Let's do for Barb and everybody that's donated today, we're gonna do a little air horn because everybody's so hype in chat today. The Clegane Bowl. No, I don't. So Rocking Ocean, I don't play Fortnite or PUBG, but I used to play the old Call of Duties and that kind of stuff. But I'm more into RPG games like Final Fantasy and The Witcher, adventure games like Mass Effect, stuff like that. I love like big games with like lots of replay, like Zelda Breath of the Wild is one of my favorite games. Yeah, can we chat right now? Can we get some love for Sandor Clegane and the Clegane Bowl in the chat, please? Sandor, my all-time favorite character. Can we get some love for Sandor in the chat, pretty please? Let's Mountain versus John Haymaker found the appropriate emojis. Let's show some love for Sandor in the chat. Yeah. Got Belle Stark in the chat. What's going on? Liz King, nice to see you. Yes, we got Jon Snow Targaryen in the chat. Loving it. So much hype in the chat for saying I'm seeing dog emojis, I'm seeing bear emojis. Every fucking chicken. Bell Stark, you can donate. Beside the emoji button, there's a dollar sign. That's where people can donate. Hey Ray, what's going on? Nice to see you. His name was Sandor. I absolutely did. Everybody love that moment too. Arya finally calling Sandor by his real name. Sandor, thank you. She finally thanked him by his real name. Hell yeah. I'm loving it. Liz King putting some chicken in the chat. Loving this. Yeah, it was fan service. Let's be honest. I'm not sure it's gonna happen like that in the books or if it even happens at all, but loved it. Actually, let's get a vote. Did people enjoy the Clegane Bowl? I mean, him almost getting Oberyn and laughing. I loved it. I wish obviously the Hound would have survived, but did people enjoy the Clegane Bowl in the chat? Yeah, I could cover the last season. I'm going to be covering all sorts of Marvel stuff too. Absolutely. So Ricci says absolutely. Anthony says I did. Gordon says yes. Laura Ann says backslide in his character though. Clegane Bowl. Clarissa says loved it. Allison says loved it. Velveteen, yes. Rocking Ocean, hell yeah. Original David Adams liked it. Linda Smith liked it. Robert says we needed more of the Clegane Bowl. Barb, right? I didn't want it, but loved it. Okay. Kyburn's death made it better, says Jake Thomas. Okay. Bear Island Joss loved it. Kay's Nation says yeah. Courtney Matza is in the chat as well. What's going on, Courtney? Better late than never. Fandom D Saint says loved it. Yeah, I loved the shot when the mountain and the Hound and the Drogon's flying above and there's the flames. I love the high ground, low ground scene, kind of like we got with Anakin and Obi-Wan. That was the kind of vibe that I got from it. Yeah, he died by fire, right? Yeah. So people mostly liked it, right? That's good. Actually, let's talk about the finale a little bit. Actually, because if we pick like one scene that you love from the finale, like your favorite scene, I was gonna say season 8. That's kind of hard to pinpoint one favorite scene. I think that my favorite scene all of season 8 was definitely probably Jaime knighting Brienne, but it's really hard to just pick one, right? I also love the last Sandor Arya scene for sure. I loved there was really some I loved the last the poetic endings of Stark, the kind of them all walking through new doors and leaving the old ones behind. So that's something that I really enjoyed. What was everybody's favorite scene of season 8? Like if you had to pick one. I really like the Stark montage, and I love the Brienne being knighted. The pod sing-along? Ooh, that's a good one, too. Cersei becoming human again. Dragon wins behind Dany, says Liz King. I like that one, too. John petting Ghost, the goodest boy. Yes. Pickle Pizza's my favorite scene was Grey Worm sailing off to Nath, not knowing about the butterflies. Dany's dictator speech, says Wesley. I love that. That was very that had like Hitler Mussolini vibes to it, like the very, very like trying to rally the troops into believing what she was saying. Definitely the dragon wings behind Dany, says Courtney Monsa. Yeah, that shot was epic. Arya threatening Yara. John flying on a dragon, that was a good one too. Drogon nudging Dany. The Dance of Dragons, Nicholas says, during the Battle of Winterfell, the Long Night. Tormund's backstory about Giant's Milk. I loved it. Edmure being shot down, says Courtney. Drogon coming out of the ash bed. See, there was a lot to love about Game of Thrones Season 8 too. It wasn't perfect, but come on, like, we're fucking spoiled, right? Dany's new look was everything. Like, there were some issues with Season 8 and Season 7, but can we agree that there were so many good moments too, everyone? Can we do that in chat? Can we? Because there was a lot. There was a lot of good too. It was so beautiful, Chrissy. Like, so many of cinematically, oh my goodness. Melisandre's last. Yeah, like that was amazing. I loved the Tyrion speech at the end too. Mr. Skillen says, I still liked it even if it didn't really line up and make sense. Yep. The sound, Ramin Djawadi too. Can we, everybody, stop what you're doing. Hype and love for Ramin Djawadi in chat. The soundtrack, oh my God. The breaking of the wheel, the music that's going on where Tyrion gives his speech, love that. The music at the end for House Stark and all of their journeys. Hell yeah. Ramin Djawadi, he enhanced every single friggin' scene, right? Like with his music, it just added to the layers of complexity and the intensity, the emotion. Just insane. The Dragon Moonlight shot was also amazing. Yeah, the music was stunning. The soundtrack is the Night King music. Oh my God. So the Light of the Seven, I got to go see Ramin Djawadi in Houston, Texas last year with Blaze Manga. And Mandolin met there, by the way. But and she was nice enough to bring me a nice big beer, which is awesome. But my God, him playing Light of the Seven live, that was just truly spectacular. And then playing the House Stark theme, there was this lady in a costume, and she was growing up, and the weirwood tree started growing, and the leaves, like she sprouted from the weird, and she was singing. It was absolutely incredible. I don't know if anyone's got to see Ramin Djawadi live. I highly recommend it. I believe he's doing another tour this year, but incredible. And but saying that, the Night King theme and the Night King music, that was just almost as good as Light of the Seven for me. It's really, really good. I highly recommend people going to see Ramin Djawadi in person. I've been to many concerts. I went and saw Metallica, Bad Religion. I went and saw Rush live. I've seen BB King live. I've seen Snoop Dogg live. I've seen this countless amounts of awesome musical acts live. But seeing Ramin Djawadi is up there. So yeah. So original David Adams says the Night King theme is the best one. Mel tried to light up the episode for us. Love it. So let's talk about this. Who is the MVP acting-wise in Season 8, right? Because we got to think about, okay, the writing for each character, what did they have to work with? But also, who nailed all their scenes? I think that we could probably argue that Peter Dinklage, right, maybe could have been the MVP, but, I mean, Maisie Williams was great. Emilia Clarke is Daenerys. Really, it was really hard to just pick one, right? I got to say that Dink is the MVP, Peter Dinklage, but Nikolai had some, I think it's Emilia. I think it was either Emilia or Peter. I think it's got to go to Emilia or so Daenerys or Tyrion. Lena Headey, she didn't have as much as she didn't have as much to do as Amelia did, though. Gwendolyn Christie was amazing too. Yeah. Peter Dinklage was the MVP of the last episode for sure. So a lot of people are saying Amelia and Peter Dinklage. You know who was really awesome too? Was Christopher Hivju. Like, we know that we're gonna get funny scenes with Tormund, but I loved his, like, he didn't even say anything to Jon, but he was waiting there for him, and you've got the true north in you, Jon. Like, he just like has he had, I really, really loved his scenes too. But I'm biased because I love Tormund, right? Loved Ghost. Ghost is the MVP, the goodest boy. Drogon was great this season too. Him watching Dany and Jon make out, and then him nudging Daenerys. Drogon had an MVP performance too. I'd knight you 10 times over. Fuck tradition. I love Tormund so much. And then his giants. Oh man, his story about the giant. I killed the giant when I was 10. And I suckered at his wife's teat. Giant's milk. I'm gonna try to cosplay as Tormund at Con of Thrones. So if you're at Con of Thrones, I'm gonna try to pull off. I mean, that's why I got the beard going. The giant story was amazing. What was the funniest moment of season 8? Was it the Giant's Milk stories? Like, for me, it's got to be. Right? What was the funniest one, though? I mean, yeah, I think Amelia could probably get, I think Amelia might get it. I think Amelia might get it for the final season. Giant's Milk. Stand back and he has blue eyes. Love that. When Tormund came out of nowhere, to jump and hug Jon too. Is the big woman still here? My heart is broken. And he's like, Sandor's like, fuck off. Right? Uncle, please sit down. Yeah, Sansa. The savagery of that. See you later, Chrissy. The Drogon scene with Jon and Dany. I've always had blue eyes. Who shat in my pants? That was pretty funny. There were so many good moments, right? So many funny moments too. The coffee cup had Tormund Giant's Milk latte in it. Arya slaying with her double-sided lightsaber. I mean, I don't know if that's a funny moment. That's more of a badass moment. When Arya said, I'll cut your throat to Yara, that was just savage, right? So people are really shouting out Amelia's performance. I agree. Her making that sudden transition into doing what she did in King's Landing, that must have been difficult for her, having played Dany for so many years, right? I think Alfie Allen is another one that comes to mind. He's absolutely fantastic, but he didn't have, I mean, if we're talking as far as screen time goes, I think Amelia's up there. Nikolai, of course, is Jamie, but he kind of had less over the final couple episodes. Amelia had a ton, right? She saw Missandei get beheaded, and then obviously she had all the scenes with Jon and what she did in King's Landing, and she really had this like array of different kind of emotions that she had to go through as Dany, right? I think it's got to be Amelia, and then Peter Dinklage was the MVP in the finale, I think. But I think that those two like really stood out to me. And Arya was fantastic, of course. Maisie Williams, Sophie Turner had some great scenes too. Okay, this is a great question from Rachel in the chat. What was the most heartbreaking death in season 8? Rachel says Theon Greyjoy. But I'd like to hear what everybody else says. What was the most heartbreaking death in Game of Thrones season 8? Theon, okay. Theon, Lyanna. Oh, Lyanna, Giantsbane. Jorah, Rhaegal. Oh, Daenerys, Dany. For me, it was Dany or Theon. But Jorah's up there too. Dany, Jorah, yeah, Jorah dying for Daenerys was tough too. Oh, Dany was tough though. Like her believing Jon in that moment was gonna, and then Jon killing her. That was tough. That was tough. Sandor, oh, I know. So right now, Theon's in the lead. Missandei, ooh. Missandei too. Oof. Varys, people are saying Varys in the chat too. The Night King. Oh shit. Ned Umber. Sandor's death. So it looks like it's a pretty much a tie between Theon and Dany. Jorah is catching up too. So yeah, those kind of stand out as the big ones, right? Ooh, great question, Robert Tapia. Do you think Robert Baratheon was right and it was Ned's fault 1 million innocent people died for not letting him kill Daenerys? I mean, that's the interesting thing for us to interpret, right, Robert? Right? And a big reason why Jon chose action. A lot of people choosing an action or having secrets. Like, what do you do with, first of all, power? Is a huge theme in A Song of Ice and Fire and Game of Thrones. What do you do with power? What do you do with information that you know? What do you do with secrets? How do you treat others? That all is very important. But I would say no, because ultimately Dany still had to make decisions, right? And things still had to happen to her, and ultimately, was it Ned's fault that 1 million people died in King's Landing? No. It was not Ned's fault. Ned was trying to do what's good, obviously, and looking back, right, we're like, oh, okay, well, Daenerys did do this, but I don't think we can blame Ned. Mr. Twilly with the donation, thank you. Worst death in this series, says Mr. Skillen. Now, that's a hard one. Oof. What is Mr. Skillen says, what's the worst death in the series? I think that, the most savage, the most gruesome, that's got to be Shireen being burned alive. I think that's the worst. But Viserys getting the molten gold crown is pretty nasty. But I got to say, it's definitely Shireen. Shireen or Ned, and then Hodor getting ripped apart for holding the door. Those are the 3 big ones, I think, that had the most emotional impact for me. Ned, Shireen, and Hodor. Those were pretty rough. Barristan Selmy, people were upset about too. Robb Stark at the Red Wedding and Catelyn, right? Like in the books, Catelyn gets revived and she becomes Lady Stoneheart. Robb's wife as well. Oberyn is another one we can look at. I think Shireen. Like Shireen was like this innocent person, right? If we think about like what did Shireen do wrong? Nothing. She got sacrificed and burned alive. I think the worst one it's gotta be Shireen. Getting burned alive by your father, that's really, really bad. For me, that was, the most impactful was Ned dying, but I think and Hodor holding the door, but I think the worst has got to be Shireen. So, Ed Sheeran, get out of it. Sir Dantos. Yeah, I and like visually, Oberyn was nasty as F, right? So I think it's got to be Shireen for me. Thank you, Mr. Skillen. Rob's mother, yeah, the Night King again. People are still bitter about that. Hey, I get it. I get that. Rob killing Lord Karstark was grim. Yeah, I mean, Game of Thrones, like, there's a lot of grim deaths. It's Game of Thrones, right? I mean, it's really up for each person to decide which one is worse. But yeah. Sir Pounce. 1-1 the Giant. Oh yeah, that one was super sad too. Like, but Mr. Skillen said worse. The worst. So I think that Shireen. Yeah. Marin Trant was nasty too. Yep. I mean, what Arya did to him, yeah. He deserved that shit though. Tommen was disturbing, yes. Ramsay Bolton getting savaged by his own dogs. Rickon not zigzagging. Rob's baby, yeah, that was a pregnant women getting killed is like a pretty nasty thing, really bad. Missandei, yeah, Missandei, you know, I wouldn't say she was as innocent as Shireen for sure. So I think that for me, because Shireen is a kid, right? And she was innocent. Like when I think of death in this series, I'm like, okay, like who didn't deserve that shit at all, right? Who didn't deserve it? I think number one is Hodor for sure. Shireen, like who didn't deserve to die like they did? Hodor, Shireen. Our theory says Tubbs. Yep. Theon's member. Like Hodor, Shireen, super innocent. Lady, the direwolf is another one. Stannis. Come on, are you kidding me? Burned his daughter alive. Like, who was innocent? Like, Missandei is up there with innocent characters, I think, too. Like, she's serving Daenerys, right? I think Shireen, Hodor, Missandei. No, those are the ones, right? Walter Frey. Myrcella as well. Myrcella was another innocent character that we can look and be like, okay. Hey, Renly. Renly, I guess we could see Renly as more innocent, but he was involved in politics and all sorts of decision making, I think, too. Ned Umber as well. Yeah. Any children, really, like, that's just, yeah. Maester Luwin was another sad one, right? But he wasn't, I mean, you know, he lived most of his life. So, the Butcher's Boy. The worst death we didn't see was Ilaria and Tyene. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Like having to suffer like that, that's definitely a tough one for sure. Lady. Maester Pycelle says Ertach Altanas. Get out of here before I time you out with that. Septa Unella was nasty too, yeah. So let's take some more questions from the chat. We got about another 10 minutes here before I'm going to go make some dinner. And it's beautiful. Got to go sit outside and enjoy a nice dinner outside. I don't think I've done that in a long, long time. It's been almost a year since I've done that. So Blackfish, Ollie. Oh my God. Yeah, but Ollie did some bad shit though. I mean, for the watch. Roz is another one. Yep. Let's get some more questions in the chat. Let's keep this going. We got 300 people here. Thanks for joining me and hanging out. Maura Lee. You know what that means? You got a donation. She says hype and love. Thank you very much for the donation, Maura Lee. Really appreciate that. And everybody It's made a donation today. Thank you so much for your generosity. We've got some questions. Let's get it. Let's get it. The club is open. Thank you for the content, says Michaela. Lady Stoneheart, yeah. So how does that change the story fundamentally? Like, so she got, I mean, Barrack Dondarrion, and thank you again, Mora. Can we show some hype and love in the chat from Mora, one of the patrons of the channel, one of the biggest supporters of the whole community. But Lady Stoneheart, she got given the kiss of life from Barrack, who gave his life force to her, right? So that's really interesting. And obviously we saw that Barrack ended up, you know, Melisandre at least said that Barrack was there to protect Arya. So what is going to happen with Lady Stoneheart? Is she going to end up killing Littlefinger and like ensuring Sansa's safety, or does Arya somehow get back to Westeros and link up with the Brotherhood, and Lady Stoneheart ends up protecting Arya, right? Because she sent out, like, Jaime made a vow and Brienne made a vow, and she was concerned about the safety of her children. So that's definitely a thing, right? So I think that is one thing that we could look at as far as like Lady Stoneheart's impact if she was still alive in the story. But also Jon got murdered at the wall. So, and we know there's a plot line with Catelyn not being happy that Ned brought back his bastard, right? So that's a thing too. Robert Tapia, do you think, like I do, that Missandei saying Dracarys is what sent Dany over the edge with everything else? Yeah, I mean, that definitely factored into it. But if we look at Cersei Lannister's progression, right? I'm not saying that Dany and Cersei are similar, but they've had similar things happen to them. And Cersei became more dangerous after she lost her children, right? What did she have left? She had the Iron Throne and power, and she had to protect that, right? And Dany lost, you know, Viserion to the Night King, and then she lost Rhaegal. Those are her children. And then she lost Jorah and Missandei. So her circle started getting smaller, and she started becoming, you know, more like Cersei in a way, where she didn't have the same people supporting her. Like Cersei had Tywin and Jaime, and then that got, you know, they all got separated. So those are big reasons why, Robert, I think, yes, Missandei's death, it did help in Daenerys becoming very angry and doing what she did. So thank you. So yes, it was definitely a big part of that. Samuel Tarley. So what did everybody think about? I saw some people mention Samuel Tarley today. And hey, PJ, nice to see you in the chat, PJ of Ice and Fire. What do we think about Samuel Tarley presenting the Song of Ice and Fire and Tyrion not being mentioned? Because after the Battle of Blackwater, we got to remember that Varys made the speech, he says, the history books won't remember you, Lord Tyrion, but we will, right? And they won't mention you. So that was foreshadowing that, you know, because Tyrion fought in the Battle of the Blackwater. He was handed the king to Joffrey, handed the queen to Daenerys, and Tyrion had this crazy journey. And we could argue that Tyrion had as crazy of a journey as Bran did. That's up for interpretation for everyone to decide, but I thought that's really interesting, right? So definitely, I mean, that's the thing. George R. Martin and the showrunners and everyone want us to be able to debate these things and be like, okay, you have the choice to at least choose. Chile FR, thank you for the donation and thank you for your question earlier. But what do we think about Tyrion being left out of A Song of Ice and Fire? A very large man can still cast a very large shadow, though, right? And you know what? George R. Martin, the idea of the unspoken hero. A lot of people are saying, well, you know, Jon's Targaryen lineage means nothing. Well, no, it actually meant a lot, right? And we could kind of apply the same thing to Tyrion not being mentioned in A Song of Ice and Fire. Tyrion had a huge impact on Game of Thrones and A Song of Ice and Fire, right? So we got to think of it like that. Like, okay, did Jon's Targaryen lineage actually matter? Yes, it did. Did Tyrion's story matter? Of course it did. So I think that, yeah, that's kind of the way I see it anyways, personally. But I just, Sam saying, I don't think that you were mentioned. George R. Martin loves to play with the unspoken hero or the unlikely hero, right? I mean, look at who was there at the final council. Bran, right? Okay, well, the Three-Eyed Raven, Bran. Davos came from Flea Bottom. Look at what Brienne, not your prototypical, but by female standards, just as a female, Westerosi standards, but also a knight, Brienne there too. Bronn, a sellsword, right? Samwell Tarly. Like, look at the people that were there at the end, right? The cripples, bastards, and broken things. But for Tyrion to be left out was very interesting. And great point, Stark Direwolves in the chat. Remember the conversation that Tyrion had with Daenerys, right? Daenerys said, "I don't have a temper," and he goes, she goes, I've never really lost my temper. Well, yes, you did, Tyrion said. You burned the Tarleys alive, but it's okay. Most monarchs lose their cool sometimes. And then Tyrion said to her, you may not see the change you want to see in your lifetime. And then it's the same. We have that conversation with Jon and Tyrion where he says, "Did what we did, was that right? Ask me again in 10 years." Right? So I think that, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, like writing was bad, nothing connected. Trust me, things connected. It just happens so fast. I think that's why we feel the way we do. So yeah, I absolutely, the Dink, Peter Dinklage, Tyrion's journey is one of my favorites, top 5 for sure. One of my favorite characters. He's up there. Arya, Tyrion, Sandor, of course. Davos is up there. There's so many, really. All the characters. Matthew Pritchard, I do have a question. I'm reading A Clash of Kings and Mira tells Bran the place that they move is Greywater Watch, yes. Moves around so that people can find it. So, the Reeds, Greywater Watch, just implied that, they can move their home base around, and their house is connected to, the Green Seers of old and all of that. So perhaps there's some more magic involved in that. We know that there's different kinds of magic. We got the Faceless Men magic. We got the Lord of Light. We've got, the old gods, and, House Reed is definitely connected to the old gods. So there is some implication and some kind of some hinting at that as, magic of the old gods connected to, perhaps the Children of the Forest, what they knew, that kind of thing, right? And Howland Reed went to this. This is expanded on. We didn't get the God's Eye at all in the show, but Howland Reed, after the tourney of Harrenhal, went there and trained, learned from the Green Men and all of that. And it said, the trees whispered to Howland Reed. So was that Blood Raven? Was that the Three-Eyed Raven and the Children of the Forest speaking to Howland? So Greywater Watch and all of that. I think that the old gods, Children of the Forest influence. That's part of the big reason why they are able to cloak it or move it around. So yeah, it's sad that we didn't get more about that though. So okay, before we end the stream, what I want to do is I want to kind of do a quick little poll. What would everyone like to see in the next couple of videos? I'm definitely going to be doing, like I said, House Stark videos, but what I'm going to be doing an Arya Frodo-esque end, kind of talking about their endings and how they compare. And I'm definitely doing a Sansa video. So those are kind of the next videos. But what would everyone like to see next on the channel? So what I want to do is, while we have everyone here, going forward, we don't have any more Game of Thrones episodes for a while until the prequels come out. So thanks, Philip Wolf. What's for dinner? I'm not sure yet. I got to cook something. But what do you want? What would you like to see on the channel? Like the thing? Can we come to a consensus in chat? Still be live streams every now and then, but what would you like to most see on the channel? Game of Thrones Rewind, going back to the previous episodes of Game of Thrones, book content, specific character videos. I just want to see what everyone says in the chat before we go here, and let's see what everyone says. Cooking videos, comparing the book. Will it happen in the books? Okay, very interesting. PJ, we'll get to your question right before we leave. Thank you for the donation, by the way. History of the Great Houses. Okay. Rewatches and book theories from the beginning. Okay. Book videos. All of the things, character videos, book content, a lot of book content. Okay, Fire and Blood's being suggested. Rewinding character videos, Game of Thrones Rewind. Book content. Okay, it seems to be overwhelming book content. I'm loving it. Character videos, Star Wars. Oh, so you know what we'll do, PJ? You know what I'm going to do, PJ? PJ has a question here. He says, what exactly is going to go on with the Night's Watch and Jon Snow? I'm going to do a specific, you know what? PJ has been one of the biggest supporters of the channel. And I'm going to do a video. I'm going to save this question, PJ. And I'm going to do a Jon Snow video just for you, give you a shout out. And we're going to dedicate a Jon Snow video to PJ. She's our biggest Patreon supporter on the channel. And yeah, we're going to... PJ, thank you for your donation, but she says she wants a little bit of a dance. And this is what we're going to do. End the stream. Thank you, everyone, for joining today. We're going to be doing book content. It's going to be coming up, like you said, in the chat. I'm going to be doing Game of Thrones Rewind. We're going to be doing Marvel content. Lots of new stuff is coming on the channel, so don't worry. More content is coming. I just want to thank all of you for joining me today and being hyped in the chat. Like I said, I'll be doing character videos, but we're going to renovate the office. We're going to put a couch in here. We're going to do some reaction videos. Lots more fun, new things are going to happen on the channel. We're going to explore new things. I'm going to try to get better at everything. And yeah, I really appreciate all of you joining me today. Thank you so much for all of the awesome donations, all the hype and love. I'll see you on the next video. Hype and love.